His executive orders demolished Trump's Remain in Mexico policy, which at least contained some of the lawlessness down there. Under Biden's destructive executive orders, perhaps as many as 10 million foreign nationals have illegally crossed the borders. Essentially, Joe Biden and his followers are fine with allowing people entry into this country to await asylum hearings, which are years away. These migrants are unsupervised and most dependent on U.S. entitlements, which are estimated to cost taxpayers more than $1 trillion. Also, according to congressional data, more than 600,000 migrants have criminal records in their home countries and are now at large here. Madness? You bet. As Biden would say, I'm not being facetious. Yet when Election Day rolls around, millions of Americans will vote for the border destroyers. That's the worst thing of all. Back after this. You can now watch new episodes of the No Spin News live on Samsung TV Plus. Tune in each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV for breaking news, honest analysis, and the best election coverage in America. Please join me, Bill O'Reilly, at the First TV, now available on Samsung TV Plus. Start watching today on your Samsung television, Galaxy devices, or the Samsung TV Plus mobile app. Check out the No Spin News each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV, Samsung TV Plus. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Good morning, freedom lovers. Wait, good Friday morning, freedom lovers. Kenny, how are you, baby?
I'm great, Vic.
It's Friday!
You bet your ass, Mr. Speaker. All right. Sometimes Fridays are just Friday. Today it's like Friday, man.
It's Friday.
Yeah. Big show today, of course, on every Friday. David Stokes, the Municipal Policy Director at the Show Me Institute, will kick us off here in just a bit. Larry Connors is going to join us by phone. Did you approve that? Did you get paperwork on that he's going to be on the phone and not be in here?
Just had to let him go,
All right, as long as you
fast moving Larry.
He is fast moving Larry for sure. Jay Ashcroft, Missouri Secretary of State, at 9:41 for our weekly conversation. Now, with these jurors that are picked, let's call them jurors in quotes. They're all Trump haters is what they really are. Yesterday, they got the 12, and I think they have 3 alternates and they need 3 more, something like that. So I don't know. We'll talk to who better to talk to about that than our in-house counsel here. Sorry, Susie Moore.
Yeah, that'd be a good take. I just want everybody to know that one of the jurors that was rejected by the Trump or by Trump's people, she actually got caught saying things against him by her own family. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been caught. She would have become a juror, and that's what makes me wonder about these other jurors. They haven't gotten caught. Maybe they could be plants against Trump and still not be caught.
And it's so easy to catch them. So easy to catch them. All you got to do is go on their social media. Every one of these idiots have something anti-Trump on their social media. 10:25 today. We lost another rocker from our past. We'll talk about that at 10:25 in the Wheel of Audio Clips at 10:41. Ken, who leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance today, sir?
Mrs. Brenda Talent from Show Me.
All right. Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's like in second place to my wife. How quickly she can do that?
Oh, my God. You know what? I didn't even check this page. She's tied.
She's tied. So Jim Talent's wife and my wife.
Right.
Two fastest Pledge of Allegiances that we do. All right, let's get rolling here. Are we ready, Kenny?
We're ready.
All right, our first guest is the heavyweight champion of municipal policy at the Show Me Institute, David Stokes.
Where'd it go? What's ready?
Good morning, everybody.
How you doing, man?
Doing great. I actually
in my, again, very brief boxing career, I actually fought as a light heavyweight.
Oh, but that was actual boxing. In municipal policy, you're clearly a heavyweight.
Thank you, Vic. I appreciate that. And unfortunately, in life now as well, I'm also now a heavyweight.
I was just going to say.
I put on a few pounds since my fighting days.
In real life, I'm a heavyweight, but nothing to do with skill. Just the scale. Right. Boy, it's tough. All right, Dave. So the earnings on the tax impact on the budget in the city, St. Louis city officials are going to lose really $26 million in earnings. Does anybody know what they're doing in that city government?
Well, no. This is about their upcoming budgeting. They're talking about taking out $26 million in earnings taxes they don't expect to get next year, and that's sort of an estimated loss from the illegal collection of remote earnings taxes that they've been doing for the past 4 years here. So this is a good thing that the city is finally apparently coming around to the reality that they don't have a right to this money and that they expect to lose either in court or in the legislature because the court has already ruled once that they don't have a right to this earnings taxes on remote work, and the legislature is close to tightening up the law to make it even more clear, although the existing law is pretty clear. So this is a good thing. What the city's been doing for 4 years now is completely wrong. They have no right to the earnings tax on people working remotely. Anybody can read the existing statute, which clearly states for work done, services performed in the city of St. Louis, not near the city, not connected to the city via computer line, but in the city. Yet they've nonetheless been collecting the earnings tax for remote work, refusing to refund it, and it's just infuriating. And I've got a blog up on this at showmeinstitute.org, and the Post-Dispatch and Tony Messier have written several columns and editorials on this recently. You know, good points. They all do at least briefly admit that the city is in a poor legal position here, but at the same point, they all seem to think the city has some right to this money just because they might need it. Well, you don't have a right to illegally take taxes just because you need it. So it's good to see the city coming around to reality and maybe budgeting with an expectation that they're going to lose this source of taxes. Kansas City never collected the earnings tax on remote work. They never stopped refunding requests for remote work refunds, and they did not have the type of budget disaster that the city of St. Louis has been saying they would have for 4 years. It's been much more reasonable in Kansas City. So the city of St. Louis, I think, needs to get rid of the entire earnings tax. It should have started that. It should have never instituted it. But 20 years ago, they should have started a process to get rid of it. It gets harder and harder when you see $200 million buildings being sold for $3 million, as happened downtown, and the Wall Street Journal talked about. That gets harder to get rid of the earnings tax, but it still needs to be done, as painful as it may be. But in the meantime, we can at least do the right thing and get rid of the earnings tax for remote work.
I agree. I couldn't agree more with everything you said about the earnings tax. But I think if you don't want to lose buildings like that and lose almost $100 million on it when you sell it, I mean, I think crime is part of the issue, too. Cori Bush the other day was calling to stop the violence in Gaza. Why don't you stop the violence in your own city?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's what's admittedly hard about all of this. And where the Post-Dispatch editorial and Messier's column, they have points. The city is never going to recover without getting hold of the crime problem. And to do that, they need tax dollars. So we've been saying for years and years that we need to get rid of the earnings tax and to replace it with higher property, generally speaking, higher property taxes that can be phase one out and phase one in over time. But we can all admit that replacing it with higher property taxes is more difficult when valuable buildings are now worth pennies on the dollar for what they used to be worth due to the real estate crisis unfolding in the city of St. Louis. And if you haven't read the Wall Street Journal article from last week, or if your listeners haven't read it, Everybody should. The AT&T building is not the only such building experiencing issues like this in St. Louis. So it's a difficult financial situation going forward. But let's remember, the city of St. Louis for the last couple of years has had more money than they know what to do with, between the federal funds for stimulus funds, COVID funds, between RAMS money, between their own tax collections, which again were not nearly as down as people feared it was maybe at the beginning of COVID, but local governments recovered quickly from that. So they've had plenty of money to put into policing, and they've chosen not to do it, or at a minimum have done it very poorly. So the idea that the city doesn't have any money, the property tax issue in the future is very concerning, but they've had plenty of money to invest to spend on policing over these past 2-3 years, and have just done it very, very poorly. And no matter how much money they have to spend, it's amazing the people who are still willing to be police in the city of St. Louis with the crime they have to deal with, and the politicians most of whom would never have their back if they have to make a tough call. So I don't think you're going to get enough police in that town until there's a wholesale change in the leadership and the way they react to and treat their police.
Dave, we can't stress enough the excellent point that Vic brought up, though, because this city is run the same way by the Democrats that our country is being run. They keep talking about in these reports this last couple of weeks that, well, there's record numbers of measles and tuberculosis and all these other different illnesses in the United States. Well, guess what? There are record numbers by far of illegal aliens crossing the border that are unvetted. So again, the city of St. Louis is being run just like the federal government, and it comes down to crime.
It comes down to crime. It comes down to bad schools, hopefully with the changes in Jefferson City.
I'm sorry, Dave, but that comes down to crime, too. That's all crime. That's all based on crime. The bad schools, the not having hospitals, not having grocery stores here in the city of St. Louis. It's all based on crime.
And the city of St. Louis is probably heading down a path that you're going to have to look at, like Detroit in the future. And I'd love to do a project to look into that more. Detroit got so bad, it finally needed a state takeover, and that happened a little over 10 years ago, to finally get a hand on the finances of the city so they could fund police, to deal with the police and the crime issue. And that's been a very good thing for the city of Detroit. It might have been impossible to turn the city around, but it eventually happened, and I'm talking about Detroit, and maybe something like that is going to be necessary for the city of St. Louis, because it keeps bleeding population, and every time it bleeds population and buildings go from 200 million to 3 million, then they lose the tax base that they need to fund the police, and it's not looking good. And yes, you can blame decades and decades of terrible public policy in the city of St. Louis for so much of this problem. It's absolutely true.
All right. Last few weeks of the state legislative session, you and I have gone back and forth on this one, the senior property tax freeze. Know you're against it. Any thoughts on it?
Well, what they're doing now is there's a bill and many people in St. Louis County will certainly support this. It's a bill that will sort of clarify some of the open-ended questions in last year's bill, which authorized counties to institute these freezes. And some of these changes in this bill are good ones. Like, they're just, whether you like the senior property tax freeze or you hate it, and I definitely hate it.
I know.
Some of the changes in this bill that make clarifications are smart. But the tricky one is that the bill also bans counties from making changes to who's eligible for it. So what that really means is that only 2 counties have done that. The city of St. Louis, which obviously is its own county for these purposes, and St. Louis County, which both instituted a limit on the value of the house for a senior to be in the program. It's both at $500,000. I think St. Louis County is actually $550,000, but close enough. And then St. Louis County also slightly increased the age eligibility level up to, I think, 67 from 62. So if the state, I actually like what the state is doing here, because I think there's a very good chance that if the state passes this law and says that St. Louis County cannot impose these tighter restrictions, that that St. Louis County will get rid of the program entirely. So I'm completely in favor of that.
Wow.
St. Louis City may as well. So you might have this. This might be an example of be careful what you ask for, because at least one member of the county council voted in favor of the senior property tax freeze, but was very clear she supported it because of the restrictions on the size of the homes and the value of the homes. So perhaps if these changes get passed at the state level, St. Louis County will reconsider the entire thing in the first place and go back to a system where if you have similar people with similar homes in similar neighborhoods getting similar services, that they should pay the same property taxes, and one person shouldn't get a special deal because they're 65 when the other's 32, which is how it should be based out. So that's the issue here in the state. They may do something to help the people in their ideas, help seniors in St. Louis City and County, which in the end turns to hurt them from that point of view. I think it would help both areas to get rid of the program entirely, but this is where it gets a little complicated, perhaps.
Well, you think they can do it in the final weeks of the legislative session?
Oh, I think they can. Much of that particular bill is a smart one. It does things like, clarify that if you do a renovation on your house, and an addition to your house, that doesn't count into the tax freeze, and it gets to be redone and reassessed, even if you're a senior. So there's sort of straightforward stuff like that everybody agrees on. And in Jefferson City, I went to these hearings and spoke at them. Most people in the legislature want to get rid of what St. Louis City and St. Louis County did in imposing these caps on it. That change seems to be popular with the majority. So I think there's a very good chance it passes. We'll see then what happens in St. Louis City and St. Louis County if they reconsider participation in the program entirely. That's going to be very interesting. And also, Dick, what they did in St. Louis City is they only set the tax funds for city money. They didn't say it was eligible for the school district and the Zoo Museum district and all the other taxing districts. So the amount of money saved for seniors in the city of St. Louis is much smaller. So we'll also see if the city reconsiders the participation once they're forced to include the school district and the Zoo Museum district and others in the total bill. That's going to be very interesting as well.
All right. He's David Stokes, David C. Stokes on Twitter. The Show Me Twitter page is at Show Me, and of course, showmeinstitute.org. The winner and still champion of municipal policy, David Stokes. Dave, thanks, man.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Vic. Always great talking to you guys.
All
See you, Dave.
So there's a little headway there,
Yeah.
You're not dead against it, So
right.
Maybe
right.
seniors, can get that tax freeze because it's not a tax break. It's not less money. It's just less of more money, if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense, especially if you're paying the bill.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Wheel of Audio Clips coming up at 10:41. Great fun way to end up our working week here. We lost another great rocker. 10:25. We'll talk about that. Susie Moore, what does she think about these jurors and this whole jury selection thing? That's at 10:05. Jay Ashcroft, our Secretary of State, at 9:41. And coming up next, a mobile edition. Is that a good way to say it? Mobile?
Yeah.
With Larry Connors in Mr. Connors' Neighborhood. That's next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Number one for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Don't. No!
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Be cool, honey bunny. Be cool.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here along with Tim Jones for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are the number one home selling team in the area, and I could say that from personal experience. They sold our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible, which put us in a great position as we tried to find our perfect new home, and with help from the Wallners, that's exactly what we did. Christine and I couldn't be happier with our experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner, and Tim, the numbers speak for themselves.
That's right, Tony. Everybody knows the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. And if you're looking to sell your home, Right now, they have so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the St. Louis region, you can put the Wallner's experience and work ethic to work for you. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
Kickstart your spring with spring into green savings on a John Deere compact tractor at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. For a limited time, we have 0% financing for 84 months with zero down on select models. Plus, when you purchase an in-stock model year 23 compact tractor, you'll save up to an additional $2,500. Take home the tractor of your dreams today. Visit snpartners.com for more information.
Offer valid through 4/26/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Kim Patton from Comprehensive Integrative Healthcare. Kim, you focus on the treating of neuropathy. What are the signs of neuropathy?
The most common symptoms are numbness, burning, cramping, usually in the hands and feet.
Tell me about the success you're having with your Restore Neuropathy treatment program.
Tim, our program includes 8 distinct steps, offering a unique experience from other treatments. No surgery, no addictive medications, and we are seeing a success rate of 95%.
Kim, that is incredible. How can people learn more?
Visit us online at CIH.health. That's CIH.health.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on NewstalkSTL on a Garage, and we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right, it's all right here exclusively on NewstalkSTL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
So, you want Steph's Pizza, but you're in Lake St. Louis and it's just too far to go. Not anymore. Now you can feed that Steph's Pizza craving quickly and conveniently in Lake St. Louis. Same great menu with a new location. 111 Pond Fort Trail in Lake St. Louis. Steph's Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley on Long Road, in St. Peter's on Jungerman, and now in Lake St. Louis. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com because tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
When I introduce you, I'm going to say, this is a friend of mine. That means you're a connected guy. Now, if I said instead, this is a friend of ours, that would mean you were a made guy. A capiche?
Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
Gabish. So listen, where are you listening to right now? Where are you listening from right now, I should ask, you know? Because you could be listening from Hawaii if you wanted to.
Guam.
With it. That's perfect. You know why that's perfect?
Why?
Because my wife and I, in the little colloquialisms that we use, to us, Guam is the furthest possible place from us on Earth. It may be, it may not be, but you remember when if you used your phone too long, like your landline phone, you get charged more for more time you use it?
Yeah.
And, you know, like one of the babies picked up the phone and she goes, look, she's calling Guam. That was always what we used. We always use Guam as the farthest thing away. So if you're the farthest part of the earth from us, go get the News Talk STL app. Hit the News Talk STL button, and then you can listen to us wherever you are. It makes it really easy. Okay?
Real simple, and you can Bluetooth it in your car, everything.
Yeah. You think Larry has Bluetooth in his car?
Oh, sure.
He didn't have Oppo.
No.
Let's go.
St. Louis, it's Mr. Connor's neighborhood.
Yes, it is. Good morning, Mr. Connors. How are you?
Good morning, Vic and Ken. I have to tell you, ironic as that is, I'm in Guam right now.
Were you stationed there? Were you stationed there? My brother was.
I'm in a prison cell, and they allowed me one call, and I thought I was calling my attorney. And I ended up getting you guys.
Well, I'll do it. I mean, you know.
Vic will do it.
I have no more qualifications than Fannie Willis's guy.
No.
So I could probably take care of it. All right.
I regret I can't be there. I regret I can't be there in person with you.
Well,
but they won't let me out.
It's all right. We'll give you one time, this one time, but no more times.
Okay.
All right. So we know that you, I don't want to say regularly, but semi-regularly talk to Gordon Chang, right? Expert on China. And big story today, the FBI warning that Chinese hackers are preparing to launch a massive cyber attack on the United States. This could be a digital cyber black swan event, Larry.
I know, and I'm lining up Gordon. He's very hard. That, as you know, he's an expert that appears on numerous national networks and everything else, but he always makes time for my audience, and I'm going to be talking to him. This has been coming, and this is just one more attack upon our nation, and too many people just are not paying attention, and when it hits, maybe that'll be a wake-up call, who knows? Or they may be the ones who stared at the sun the other day and can't see anything anyway.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Gordon Chang, I've heard him say with you, Larry, that how many over 100,000 Chinese?
As we've reported on this show, Larry, for the last year or two, we've said over 140,000 Chinese nationals have gone over our border illegally since Joe Biden took office.
And they're just waiting for marching orders from Xi Jinping. I mean, I think I really believe that. What about you?
Well, I do too. You don't, even though they're a country of billions, if they would know if people got out, you don't get out without their permission.
Right.
And if you actually escaped as someone to say, oh, they just want to come here and have a better life and come, I said their families would be slaughtered back in China. So they were sent here, and it's what's called a fifth column. You're forming a military, an army behind our defensive lines, what lines we have now. And they are throughout the country, and that's just the Chinese. That doesn't include the various terrorists that have come in with their own schemes. It's not going to be good.
No, it's not going to be good. And you know, when the director of the FBI, you know what's funny? I'll tell you what's funny. They played a few clips of Christopher Wray testifying the other day, and my wife turned to me and said, "Is he an idiot or what? Like, is he just stupid?"
Yeah.
Like, it's not like even being devious. She thinks he's just stupid. And I think she's kind of right, Larry. He lets so many things go by that he doesn't see that an idiot could find.
I think he knows the problem I have with him, and this is where I guess my standards would be. If I were the head of the FBI, and I would be telling the White House, and he got asked that on a recent inquiry, he said, well, we don't make policy, we carry it out. But if I were head of the FBI and my job is to protect the American citizens, and you have stripped me of that ability, and you continue to let these people in after I've said back in December, we're at the highest alert ever, it hasn't gotten any easier, and I would resign. I do not want it to happen on my watch because it will.
But I feel like he's only looking out for half the country, you know, when he allows some of the investigations that he's allowed to happen. And I know it's like, oh, the FBI is so big. How could he all accountability goes right to him for everything in that department.
If you're going to go down with the ship or you're going to get off. I would have gotten off a long time ago.
Yeah.
I said, we are not making this country any safer, and I'm calling Biden and Mayorkas out for opening the border and everyone who believes in it. And unfortunately, the other day, and I don't wish bad for anyone, but last weekend, a staffer with a Nevada senator got killed in a car wreck. The driver was an illegal alien, according to police. He ran from the scene. He was drunk. And sure enough, there was somebody. She talks highly about her staffer. I'm sure she cared about him. And that's a Democrat. And unfortunately, now it's hit home in one of their places. And in Chicago City, the residents are demanding, we didn't vote to make us a sanctuary city. You people did, and we want it changed.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's change topics here. Israel fired back overnight. They called
Good. Good.
They called it like I forget the word they used.
Limited.
Yeah, limited attack. What do you think that was good? Limited attack, or should they have gone full force?
No, actually, I had Fred Fleitz, who's 30-plus years in CIA and Department of National Intel, the other day, and he said, I don't think they'll hit Iran directly first. They'll go after Iranian targets outside, as they did in Syria. But now they did hit Iran, and they targeted an area where they've been doing their nuclear work. Whether or not they caused damage,
according to the Iranians, no big deal. But Iran is now saying we're not going to immediately respond. I think they got the message. Israel can get through your defenses. We can hit where the hell we want. And if you continue, we will escalate from limited to full aggression.
Yeah.
And I think Iran is not ready for it.
I don't think they're ready for it either. And I think that, you know much more about military strategy than I would ever know. But I guess, the infrastructure around is first, chip away at it. But do you think there'll be a time when it'll be right in downtown Tehran?
There'll be a lot of innocent casualties, and Israel does not want that, despite what you're going to hear from the leftist media and all these people shouting, they're trying to kill and genocide of Palestinians, as if they want to forget the genocide of Jews. But beyond that, if they had wanted to just wipe out Palestinians in general, they could have wiped Gaza off the map on October 8th. But they didn't. They gave several warnings, and for people who could get out of the area, hopefully many were shot in the back by Hamas terrorists because they didn't want to lose their human shields. But Israel has to have a right to defend itself, period.
I think he's so right. Israel could have ended this on October 8th.
Yeah, and think about this, Larry. Think about this. They when they shot recently, when Israel just shot a bow, did a shot across a bow, I guess you could say. They weren't trying to hit anything, but they did. If you'll notice, they made all those shots that they did fire real close to the nuclear facilities.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're going to shoot first.
Oh yeah, and I have no doubt that, as has happened before, there will be some mysterious explosions inside Iran, not any missiles or anything fired at them. It's happened twice before at their nuclear facilities. Supposedly they're deep inside some mountains, but Israel has an amazing intel unit and operations. They've got so much. We need to learn from them. Many of our military do know they're just handcuffed by this administration.
Yep.
Yeah, they sure are. All right. Locally, in the United States, RFK will be on the ballot in Michigan. I think that helps Trump, don't you think?
I do indeed. Much like Ross Perot ended up helping Clinton get into office.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's going to divide that vote. It's going to pull from Biden. And Biden, of course, the other day, another gaffe. Let's choose freedom over democracy.
Yeah.
Truth over facts. God, he's so stupid. He's so stupid. I think it's disgusting. I'm not sticking up for RFK Jr., but he clearly is the black sheep of the family.
Yeah.
Coming from a black sheep of a family.
You were so racist.
Sorry. But they endorsed Biden instead of their own flesh and blood.
They sure did.
I think that's disgusting. All right.
No, you're right. And many of them, many Democrats, as we saw in some of the primary races, voted no other. They didn't like any candidate. They're not going to vote for anyone.
Yep.
If they stay home, and already many Black Americans are admitting, I'm going to make my own decision. We're not getting anything from these people for all these years. They keep promising, they don't deliver. And then in Chicago, these are Black Democrats in Chicago complaining, you made us a sanctuary city, and you want to put $70 million more to pay for illegals. You want to spend $1 million in a Chicago neighborhood to make it better.
It's crazy. You're a racist if you say, hey, take care of the Americans first. You feel like a racist. All right. 6 to 8 o'clock.
And then another guy pointed out, when they start helping the homeless, start with the vets.
Exactly.
Yes.
Damn it, yes.
Start with them.
All right, 6 to 8 o'clock tonight, Larry Connor's USA. Commentary 7:30, 12:03, and 3:30. Larry, have a great weekend, sir. That's your one excuse.
Oh, great. I'll be spending my time in a cell. Thanks a hell of a lot.
All right. Well, I'll bring you a cake with a file in it, all right?
Mr. Connor's Neighborhood on the Vic Porcelli Show.
Thank you, Larry. Have a great weekend, buddy.
Thank you.
Is he in jail? What did he do?
I don't know. Maybe some gambling thing.
I was going to say, I wonder if he cheated at the poker table.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, could be. All righty. That's it, though. That's his one absence.
One time, that's it.
That's it. No more. We like him right here, sitting right here. Great Larry Connors. Jay Ashcroft. So yesterday, I'm sorry, this is just quick. I thought it was, I think everything I say is hilarious and hysterical, of course. Sure. So I was talking to Katie and Tony yesterday about cicadas. Right. So I made the mistake of saying, first of all, do you consider yourself an expert on cicadas?
No, but I have a good experience.
No. The answer was yes or no. Do you consider yourself? Okay.
No.
So when he's talking about cicadas, I said, yeah, and I know nothing about cicadas.
I know.
And Tony jumps up my ass. What? It's the biggest story since...
I know.
What do you say? Since... I don't know.
Since the eclipse.
Right, since the eclipse. Biggest story. So I had to come back with a joke to get myself out of it.
Right.
So I said, Tony, you're right. The story is so big that it's declared that it's running for Secretary of State in Missouri. The cicadas. Jay Ashcroft, current holder of that office, is next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. The Vic Porcelli Show.
You've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Correct! Made in St. Louis, for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. Columbo and Katie.
Will we start to see more universities and more colleges stand up to anti-Semitic behavior? We'll discuss this on Friday with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams and get the weekend weather forecast.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, EIFS, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hello, St. Louis. This is Everett Jones of Jones Air and Water Treatment. I know you're ready for some summer weather. While we still have the spring to get through, this is a great time to think about your swimming pools. That's right, now is a great time to save on EcoSmart salt-free, chlorine-free, acid-free pool products. Call now and get 50% off glass pack media and 15% off all other EcoSmart products. Call now at 636-899-1040, now through the end of April.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Hi, this is Ron Clutho. Join me for Groovy Grooves every Saturday to hear songs like this and memories that will take you back to a groovier place and time. Be sure to check out the playlist at NewstalkSTL.com for more Groovy Grooves.
And now for something completely different.
Groovy Grooves with Ron Clutho, Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
This hour, the Vic Porcelli Show, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019.
This is Gina Goff of Goff Productions. I'm producing a new movie in Missouri called At Niangua's End. You're listening to The Vic Porcelli Show on News Talk STL.
Thank you, Gina, very much. Did we get our invitations to the premiere of that movie yet, Ken?
Not yet.
Let's give Gina a call and get that done.
I know.
All right.
Get her back on here.
It's a Friday. We're going to talk to Susie Moore coming up at 10:05 about the jury selection in this Trump case. The whole thing is just, I mean, if you wrote a bad movie, right? If you handed me a script that you wrote that said, okay, so you got this guy, everybody hates him, we're going to have a judge who hates him, a jury who hates him, prosecutors who hate him, you would say, oh, come on. That could never happen.
No.
And it's happening right in front of our very eyes.
No, the justice system would come around and fix that.
Yeah, right. 10:25, another rocker we lost. We're losing them one by one. Wheel of audio clips at 10:41. Right now, though, let's speak to our current Secretary of State, Jay Ashcroft. Good morning. Happy birthday.
Good morning. Happy birthday. Isn't it great that it's Friday?
Boy, I'll tell you what. Ken, is it great that it's Friday?
Oh, it's awesome that it's Friday.
It's Friday!
Former Speaker of the House, pretty happy about it, too. All right.
Yeah.
So, you know what? The story, this is kind of a related thing here, so stay with me. I'll try to make it make sense as best I can. Cori Bush the other day was blasted because she's talking about, let's have a ceasefire and peace and in Gaza, and she can't have ceasefire and peace in her own city, right? And the doom loop principle is making us not only the laughingstock, but people are going to be so afraid to come into the city that not just businesses, who knows, the Cardinals, and you know what I mean, and the Blues, maybe nobody's going to come down and see them. I mean, crime's a problem.
We already see it happening. Yep. The city is a shell of what it was 40 years ago. I remember coming down to the city for Cardinals games, for fairs, for air shows, and it was so much more vibrant than it is right now. And let's be honest. Should we be taking advice from someone that wants a ceasefire in Israel, but thinks the way to do that is to take away the guns from the Israelis and provide more ammunition to the Hamas terrorists that are attacking them? The only way you get a ceasefire with evil is to defeat evil.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I don't know why it's become the hip thing now. Sometimes kids, they get caught up in this stuff because their friends are doing it, or they see people protesting on TV. Oh, I want to do that. I want to protest. And they go out and they don't even know what they're saying. They don't even know the accuracy of what they're saying.
It's the indoctrination at schools. They haven't been taught to think. Fewer than 25% of Missouri 8th graders are proficient in math and reading. They just parrot whatever they're told online or what they're told by their teachers that were brainwashed in teaching colleges. That's why we've got to take back our schools and put parents in charge of the kids' education.
Yep. I want to just bring up this and then we'll move on, I promise. But yesterday we talked to Karen Cataline about this. She's our favorite Jewish lady. And Dwight David Eisenhower, I learned just this week, Mr. Secretary, was once the president of Columbia University. I had no idea. In between being a general and the president, he was the president of Columbia University. And he said he worried, this is how much foresight he had. He worried that America and the world would forget that the Holocaust even happened.
Well, we have people today that claim that it didn't happen.
Right. So he was right.
And at least it used to be that people were ashamed if they knew someone that said that, if they had that crazy uncle or crazy aunt in their family. Now people don't even seem to be ashamed of that anymore. The fact that 6 million Jews were killed just for their religious or ethnic beliefs by the Nazis, and yet people want to ignore that as if it never happened. That's wrong, and that's why we have to worry about repeating history. We've got to learn from it and do differently.
You know, when the war was over, when we liberated the camps, he actually brought people who lived in nearby areas, brought them to see the bodies burned so that they would remember, so they would, keep at least the legacy of that. Yes, this happened a lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste all time on it, but I was shocked to know that he was president of Columbia. Oh, and I brought that up because the idiots are protesting at Columbia.
It is horrendous. At least some of them are being arrested and being punished for what they're doing. We have to stand up for truth. I mean, that's what Republicans stand for in education. Speak and teach the truth. Good, bad, whether we like it or not, teach the truth.
Exactly right. All right, I'm sorry. Now we'll move on. So you're a dad. I'm a dad. Kenny's a dad. Would you let anything keep you from your kid's graduation?
Well, I mean, I'd do whatever my wife told me with regard to my kid's graduation.
Exactly right.
But no, it is. I would definitely want to be at my kid's graduation. And what I will say is this: it should be a father's decision, not some judge that's overseeing a corrupt trial, a bastardization of the criminal justice system, and going after an individual, prosecuting an individual instead of prosecuting a crime.
So if he does go and defies the judge, what's the penalty for that? Do you know?
Well, I don't know. My sense is this: the judge is going to let him, but the judge is just being a jerk and not letting him know that he will let him. So he'll just string him along and make him not know, not let him plan things, probably make him do it at the last minute, because that's a problem when you have judges that are unaccountable to the people, when they are not held accountable to doing their job of saying what the law is, not what they want it to be.
All right, so the Mayorkas impeachment, I got two things to say about it. First of all, that they wouldn't allow this to go, and it just got dropped, right? And then my other point is, why didn't the Republicans do this for Trump when they were impeaching him?
Because Republicans generally follow the Constitution, because it's not Republicans that are destroying the norms of our government, our society, our values, and our civilization. It's the Democrats. They are breaking every norm they can to reshape this country into a Frankenstein monster of what it used to be. And that's why we've got to stand up and stop them.
All right, Israel fought back, shot back, limited.
Good for them.
Yeah, right. But do you think it was enough, I guess, is my question.
I would have been happy to support them doing more because I think that Iran has been a threat for decades, and I hate the fact that our country keeps supporting individual terrorists over there with your tax dollars, but I'm going to let Israelis make their own decision about how their government needs to respond to those terrorist, evil individuals.
All right. Idaho seems like they got it together. The Supreme Court there says that Idaho can implement its 2023 law that carries a maximum 10-year prison sentence for doctors who give hormone therapies, puberty blockers, or other gender-affirming treatments to kids under 18.
I guess a blind squirrel found a nut. It is clear that was the right thing, that we ought to let children be children. We should be able to protect them. What has always been known as child abuse. In fact, some of these states that allow that have laws on the books that would define what they're doing as child abuse. Protect kids. If you're an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, if you're an adult, want to spend your own money, and you have a mental problem where you think you're a man instead of a woman or vice versa, that's your decision. But government and people like me, we're going to stand up to protect children.
All right, let's not forget you're running for governor here. How's the campaign going?
It's going great. Love getting out, talking to people. Just had a big endorsement from the Ethical Society of Police Officers in St. Louis City because of what I've promised to do to make sure we actually get public safety as a priority of this state. We make criminals scared and law-abiding citizens feel secure and safe in being able to live their lives. Just a great reception from the people of this state. And if I can just take a minute, St. Louis has always been a special part in my heart because of Whitey Herzog and the Cardinals and the White Rat. And I don't think we've talked since his passing. And I just want to, I feel for his family. And if anybody's listening that knew him, he was an idol and a hero to a lot of Missourians, me included. Loved watching Whitey ball.
Yeah.
Whitey ball, yeah.
And there's not ball like that anymore. Nobody really plays that Whitey ball anymore. You got a website for the campaign? Of course you do.
AshcroftForMissouri.com, at JAshcroftMo on X, and then Ashcroft for Missouri on Facebook.
Sorry, we jumped the gun there. What was the last thing? The Twitter thing? That was my fault.
At JAshcroftMo on Twitter, Ashcroft for Missouri on Facebook.
All right, now do it. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.
All right, happy birthday. Nick Schroer. You know what? We never talk about what a troublemaker Nick Schroer is.
Yeah, he is.
He looks
fun.
like
It's
a
so
normal
fun.
guy, but he's a big-time troublemaker. And in case you're new to the station, in case you came over from some other Soros-owned station, Nick Schroer, our state senator, for a while there, every single day in our chat box, he would write, "Happy birthday, Vic."
Yeah.
So people are saying happy birthday to me, and I'm like,
Every day.
It's not my birthday. And so the secretary got wind of it. Now he thinks it's my birthday every day, and we think it's his birthday every day. And it's all Nick Schroer's fault.
It is, Nick.
It sure is.
Troublemaker.
All right. can, we can check the chat box
Yeah,
for
a
just a
little
bit, can't we?
Yeah, for a minute.
And then we'll finish up at 10:25. If we don't get to you now, we'll get to you later on. Let's start with Rumble. Ed Stoyd, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. No for election.
No peace.
No for election.
No peace.
He says, Ken, you're invisible. That's because the camera was turned the wrong way before. We fixed that up, though. Yeah, we got to get Ken's handsome face in there, you bet. Seniors should be honored and taken care of. Instead, this country throws them away, at least the good ones. I saw a meme. I'm not saying I completely agree with it, but the meme was like, anybody over 65 shouldn't pay any property taxes because they've done their job. You know what I mean?
I think that should be. I mean, I would have thought that 30 years ago.
Like taking care of older people. When you just walk around every day, right, and there's an old lady at Deerbergs who can't reach that can on the top, you should be right on it.
Vic, from the time I was in high school, I had an affinity for elderly.
Yeah.
And I would listen to their story. You need to listen to their stories.
Absolutely. If you can get them to talk about them, they're great stories. Apparently, the Dems like the bad old ones, like Joe.
Yeah.
Biden staged, or at least his handlers did, a visit to a Wawa. Failed miserably.
Right.
Donald Trump goes to a bodega in the Bronx where everybody's supposed to hate him, and they're all like, 4 more years.
The streets were lined for a mile.
And Joe went to a Wawa, and he couldn't even order a milkshake. I mean, he literally could not even order a milkshake. Blue Train Bebop. Oh, I like that name.
Yeah.
Political people always seem to talk about my money like it's their money. Government is no money except for which they take from us.
Exactly
oh, my God.
Right. It is our money. It's
Perfect.
It's our government, too, by the way.
Absolutely perfect. Pay attention. The Chinese people are here to attack us, whether it's with weapons or with, cyber stuff. Either way, it could be a black swan event.
Yep.
Nothing to see here. Don't look at the Chinese military-age males coming over the border. Nope, everything's fine. Woohoo, I'm off work. May try and call later. I do listen between patients every day. Oh, that's Gene, the dancing machine.
Gene, you better call.
If you call, we'll play you the music.
Yeah,
what more can we do?
That's what we do.
Okay, Susie Moore, an attorney. We'll talk about jury selection with us next. On 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Whoosh. From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Let me tell you what will improve the security, the beauty, the energy efficiency of your home. Durable windows from Window World. Mike Ferguson here, encouraging you to call them today, 314-993-1800. Window World uses a double-strength glass that has a lifetime warranty. In fact, that warranty covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. Call them today. Find out what they can do for you. 314-993-1800. Once again, 314-993-1800.
Tim Jones here. I'm with Eric from Newsteaders, Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Eric, Newsteaders has been around since 1961. Tell us the story.
Well, Richard started this 62 years ago, and we've stayed a local family-owned store since then. We've actually got 3 generations of Newsteaders working in the store. Richard, his wife, his daughter, and his granddaughter, and we all love what we do. We're kind of a St. Louis family tradition, and we do a lot of unique and one-of-a-kind custom pieces, as well as repairs. There's basically nothing that we can't do, and all of our work is done on site, so you can feel secure knowing that your jewelry never leaves, which is unusual now. And we can computer generate images of custom pieces if you want to go custom. We can take that old jewelry that you're not wearing, and we can turn that into something new that you absolutely love.
Newsteaders, a St. Louis jewelry tradition since 1961. Stop by and find out why. 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road, or on the internet, wowdiamonds.com for Newsteaders Fine Jewelers.
It's happening daily. We're being conned by the institutions we used to trust. The mainstream media is distracting us with meaningless headlines instead of focusing on the harsh realities facing American families. Time is short before something big happens, and that's why so many folks are preparing. They're becoming self-reliant by investing in emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure 4-week emergency food kits for each member of your family. Each kit contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Save $50 on each 4-week food kit you purchase. Plus, get free shipping on Ready Hour 4-week emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar power generators, water filtration units, heirloom seeds, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your unmarked boxes ship the same day. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Complaining of a rigged trial orchestrated by the White House, former President Trump is back in a New York City courtroom this morning. Says the whole thing is a stunt meant to keep him off the campaign trail.
I'm sitting here for days now, from morning till night, in that freezing room, freezing. Everybody was freezing in there.
Jury selection continues for his criminal trial. 12 jurors have been seated to hear the case, with 5 alternates yet to be chosen. Last weekend's Iranian missile and drone attack on Israel has been answered by Israel. Drone strikes on military facilities near a city in central Iran.
Now, Iran is not calling this an attack. They're downplaying it. They're trying to make jokes about it on state television today. But it comes after Tehran launched an attack that saw hundreds of drones and missiles launched at Israel. That followed another Israeli attack in Syria that killed members of Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard.
Correspondent John Gambrell, the U.S. reportedly got a heads up from Israel shortly before the attack took place. Secretary of State Blinken insisting the U.S. had nothing to do with it, but he says it will stand by Israel. The Biden administration planning to throttle new oil and gas leasing on 13 million acres of a federal petroleum reserve in Alaska.
The aim of the restriction is to help protect wildlife such as caribou and polar bears as the Arctic continues to warm. The decision finalizes protections first proposed last year as the Biden administration prepared to approve the controversial Willow Oil project. Alaska Republican Senator Dan Sullivan called the restriction an illegal attack on the state's economic lifeblood and predicted lawsuits.
And that's correspondent Jeremy House. On Wall Street, the Dow is 147 points higher, while the NASDAQ is trading 132 points in the red. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Oh, honey, it's our favorite leaf filter trusted pro, Matt. Matt, come in.
Hi, Mrs. Sparks. You wanted me to stop by? Is everything okay with your leaf filter gutter protection system?
Okay, of course, silly. We wanted you to stop by for dinner as our way of thanking you.
Yes, to thank you for that free gutter inspection, the free estimate, and what was the other thing?
That lifetime guarantee.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Sparks, those are just Leaf Filter's policies. Everyone who calls Leaf Filter gets a trusted pro to come out for a free gutter inspection and estimate. And every Leaf Filter installation comes with a lifetime guarantee.
So it's not just us?
No, sir. We don't want anyone to worry about clogged gutters ever again.
You mean everyone gets this level of service?
Everyone. They just need to visit leaffilter.com/gold to schedule their free inspection.
Okay, but you must be starving. You work so hard.
Ready to love your gutter protection as much as we do? Visit leaffilter.com/gold and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at SerenityLTC.com. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Yesterday's damaging thunderstorms are long gone, and now cooler air is in control as winds are locked in out of the north. A decent amount of sunshine today, though, should be enough to push highs into the low 60s. I think it'll feel nice. Back into the 50s for your evening plans and staying dry, down to 43 for the low early Saturday morning. And this cooler air mass sticks around through the weekend. I've got 61 for the high Saturday, up to 63 on Sunday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Vic Porcelli.
Come on, you're Italian. You understand.
Every day is a busy day all of a sudden.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
Tough and smart, and I love Italian, so, he's definitely Italian.
At least I have this show to come and talk about it and let some stuff up.
What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today?
The Vic Porcelli Show.
All right. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Is it Friday?
It's
Friday.
You know, this is a crazy radio station, right?
It's
Crazy.
crazy.
That you can get a guy who was a former Speaker of the House, very important job in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, one of the most.
And he says it's Friday for us every Friday. Absolutely love it.
Well, I heard him do it one day, you know, and I thought that was amazing, the way he did it.
Yep.
So,
and you made that, and everybody stole it from us.
and I love it that they use it.
That's right. Okay, let's go.
Oh, Susie Q, baby, I love you. Susie Q.
I'm the boss. How about that?
And I should have listened to Susie more from the beginning. Yeah. Good morning, Susie Moore. How are you?
Good morning, Vic Porcelli. I'm well. How are you?
I am well as well. So, listen, I thought of you, obviously, with this whole jury selection thing because you're always an attorney, right? You're not a former attorney. You're still an attorney. And when I'm watching this jury selection, I thought of a movie that you and I both like. And in My Cousin Vinny, when they're trying to pick the jury, and the lady says, "I think it should be left up to the families rather than the courts." And then the DA says, "Well, these two made a horrific crime, so if they were found guilty, can you?" She goes, "Fry them." I feel like that's what's happening in the jury selection now.
Maybe. You know, I mean, I think we always knew going into it that a New York City jury was going to be hard. We were going to be hard pressed to find a whole lot of them that were big Donald Trump fans. I thought some of their answers were interesting. There's definitely, you know, I would say the majority of the responses, to the extent that they're saying one way or the other how they feel about him, are not positive. But there's a few that are positive, and it's kind of been interesting to not watch. We're not actually getting to watch it live. I am following live updates from other sources and providing them at Red State as much as I can.
Well, Susie, we just found out that one of the jurors had to step down because she had it made. She was in, but her family actually turned her in, saying she's actually against Trump.
How about that?
I'm not sure that's accurate. I've been following it pretty closely. There were two jurors that had already been seated, and yesterday they were both excused. One of them because he wasn't very forthcoming with a criminal issue in his background, and the other because a woman said after careful reflection and discussing it with her family, she didn't feel she could be fair and impartial, so she didn't think she could serve.
Yeah, I read the report that they said, and I'm not sure where I read it, but it did say that the family got involved and said that she actually was not a Trump fan.
No, the family didn't get involved with the court. That's not correct. The woman said she didn't, after talking with her family, she didn't feel she could be fair and impartial.
That's exactly what Ken just said, I think. Anyway.
No, the woman told the court. The family didn't turn her in. The family didn't tell the court anything on her. She told the court, "I've just talked it over with my family."
Right. I think that we're splitting hairs here, but that's okay. All right. So, you know what I find interesting when the occupations of some of these jurors, right? They're lawyers. Should lawyers ever be on a jury? That's question number one. Then I have a question number two. What do you think about that?
So they didn't used to be, at least in Missouri. They used to be kind of automatically excluded, and that changed maybe 20 some odd years ago. As a practical matter, when selecting a jury, most attorneys will avoid seating another attorney on their jury because basically they know too much. They can be dangerous and less easily controlled or persuaded or led because they have a keener insight into the process and that sort of thing. So you kind of your instinct is to avoid someone who you know is going to probably automatically be the leader and maybe, you know, bring that added insight into the process. Now, that said, that's not always the case, and it's obviously allowable now. And in this particular case, it's been interesting because of the pool they've been talking to. There have been a number of attorneys and people in the legal field and like people in finance, real estate. So it has been kind of interesting to see sort of the different varieties there. So,
let's talk about the process for a minute, okay? Because I've been watching reports on these possible jurors, and in their LinkedIn page, they work at companies that have big DEI policies and things, where they get their news from, New York Times, and all these left-wing newspapers. So when when the prosecution brings this juror, here's a prospective juror. She's a great big liberal, not in those words, but with everything I just said. So what does the defense say then to keep that person from getting on the jury? How does that process work?
So there's 2 steps to it. There's an infinite number of strikes for cause, meaning that anytime a juror presents information that makes it clear that they cannot be fair and impartial, that they are bringing a bias or a conflict to the situation, that, either party can say, I'm moving to strike this juror for cause. And if the judge agrees, yes, you've established that this person, there's legitimate cause to strike this person, the judge will strike that person. That can go on ad infinitum. So what they've been doing as they bring in each group of jurors, they bring in 96 at a time, that's how many will fit in the courtroom, and they ask them as a group, does anybody here feel that they would have difficulty, given the parties involved and that sort of thing, being fair and impartial in serving as a juror? And a whole bunch of them will raise their hands and say, yeah, I can't do it. And they'll immediately be excused, as a group. And then they kind of drill down a little bit, and they may ask about their social media posts, or if they have strong political leanings, or if they have strong feelings about President Trump or anybody else involved in the trial. And anybody who basically answers, say, yeah, I have these strong feelings, they may likely be excused for cause. But then they each, sorry, I'm getting long here, but each side also has 10 peremptory challenges.
What's that word?
What those are is peremptory, not preemptory, peremptory.
What does that mean?
It misspelled. It means it's like your own choice, your own.
Oh, got it. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, continue.
Perspective, I guess. Prerogative, I guess. And what that means is you can say, I don't think I like this juror because I think based on their background, their work history, or something that they said on social media, they're likely not to be somebody that I'm going to be, find in my camp. So you can move to strike them for any reason. And you get 10 of those. Each side gets 10 of those. You don't have to give the court a reason. Where that gets tricky is because in a case like this, both sides have already used up their peremptory challenges. They've blown through them already. So the only way they're able to exclude further jurors is if they can convince the court that there's good cause to do that.
It's almost like when an NFL coach only has 3 challenges to the referees. This isn't a football game. This is somebody's life. So with all the occupations and the descriptions of some of these jurors, you know what I didn't see under any of the potential jurors? That there were firefighters or cops who would be on, because you said nobody, a lot of people don't like Trump in New York. You know who loves Trump in New York? The firefighters, the cops, and apparently all the Hispanics up in the Bronx.
I think there was one early on. I want to say juror number 2. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. But I think there was one guy who was a retired law enforcement officer.
Is he on the jury?
Yes, but I'll go back and double check that. Obviously, I can't do that while we're talking, but I'm pretty sure there was one guy who was. But I agree with you. That's what I was saying earlier. There's been a kind of a glut of people in sort of like the real estate, legal, finance world, which doesn't seem like it's a true cross section, but that's just who they've been ending up with so far.
You only need one, right? You only need one juror.
You only need one to hang the jury, yeah. Basically, all 12, once they're finally seated and the trial progresses, the 12 jurors have to unanimously agree to convict in order for there to be a conviction. If somebody disagrees and they can't make any headway on that, then it's not an acquittal. It's a hung jury.
This particular trial is so polarizing that you've got an easy way to say, I don't want to be on this jury just because you don't want to do the job. You just say, oh, I love Trump or I hate Trump. I mean, right?
Well, Ken, I'm going to let you in on a little secret.
Okay.
That's the trick in any case.
Oh, okay.
If you don't want to serve on the jury, you just say, no, I think everybody's guilty or, something crazy like that. Not that I'm advising anyone to ever do that.
No, never.
And I wouldn't do that.
But yeah, in any case, if you say, I can't be fair and impartial here, I'm sorry, then they're not going to keep you.
I just think it's funny that it's a long-time joke to try to get out of jury duty, right? I got to get out of jury duty. Now people are like diving to be on the jury for this one because it's Donald Trump.
So that's the thing. I mean, there's the people that want to be on because they just want to send him to jail, and then there's the people that want to be on maybe theoretically because they don't want to go to jail, and then there's the people that want to be on because if you're the juror, a juror in a high-profile trial like this, that opens up a lot of possibilities after the trial is over, as far as publicity and
a book,
selling your story, and that sort of thing. Yeah.
All right, I'm done with that. I know you were very, very upset, and you wrote about it extensively on redstate.com. We're talking to Susie Moore, by the way, who happens to be the deputy managing editor of Red State, about the Mayorkas impeachment. So I asked the Secretary of State moments ago, I said, first of all, they wouldn't go through it because it's a Democrat. And then I also said, well, why didn't Republicans do this when they were impeaching Trump?
Because Republicans have a tendency to want to try and play by the rules.
Exactly what the Secretary said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. So
maybe we need to play their game.
Well, you know what, Ken? I guess, but then we can't say that anymore. Then we can't
you're
say
right.
we follow
You're right.
the
No,
rules
I
anymore.
get it.
So what about this whole mess of an impeachment?
Well, Ken raises a good point there, and I think that was pointed out on multiple occasions on Wednesday by the Republican senators. As, okay, you are setting a precedent with this. You are basically saying that even though this individual was alleged in the articles of impeachment to have lied to Congress, which is a felony, that you're moving to dismiss this because you're saying that doesn't meet the threshold of a high crime and misdemeanor. So you're really saying that someone accused of a felony, that's not good enough to be a high crime and misdemeanor. Okay, you've made your bed. Now you're going to lie in it. So basically what they're saying is, all right, next time there's a Republican in the White House, which may be sooner than the Democrats would like. Of course, it'll be sooner than the Democrats would like.
I hope.
And you go running around trying to impeach that person or their cabinet officials, good luck, because you've set the bar. Basically, you've kind of scuttled the concept of impeachment, because if someone being accused of a felony doesn't constitute a high crime and misdemeanor for purposes of proceeding with the trial, not necessarily convicting, well, then who can be tried?
But Susie and Vic, didn't they already overshoot themselves with Jamal Bowman and Hunter Biden? Hunter Biden basically just walked away and said, "No, I don't care about that subpoena."
Well, neither of those were impeached. Those are similar. Those are related issues. Those have to do with people being accused of crimes and that sort of thing. But those don't involve an impeachment.
So my question then, two questions actually. One being, what about, he lied to Congress. What about Comey? He lied to Congress. What about Brennan? He lied to Congress. Why isn't lying to Congress a felony anymore if you happen to be a Democrat? But if you're Peter Navarro and you don't even show up, you end up in jail.
Yeah, it is a felony. Now, so here's the thing. The prosecuting body, in this case, that would be the Department of Justice, would have to be, go ahead and use its discretion and agree to charge it and to push it. And obviously this Department of Justice isn't going to do that against Democrats. So there's two separate issues going on here. Saying somebody lied to Congress and referring them for criminal prosecution is one thing, and that's something that could be done as to the people that you just mentioned. You can't impeach Hunter Biden. He's not a public official. You can't impeach Jamal Bowman. He's an elected representative. You don't impeach representatives. But you could refer it for a criminal prosecution, and the DOJ can either say, yes, we're going to, or no, we're not.
All right, now, hold on here. I have a question about all this, only because, when it comes to all this, I'm the ignorant one, only because I don't know. I don't follow this like you follow it. So you just said that Bowman couldn't be impeached because he was elected, but a president is elected and he can be impeached. Mayorkas was appointed. I get it. That's the difference between appointed and elected. So why do some elected people can be impeached and not others? This is not making sense to me anymore.
Because the distinction isn't whether or not they were elected. So I probably didn't state that right. The distinction is which branch they're from. The legislative branch, those people don't get impeached. The executive branch, which includes the president and the cabinet, they can be impeached.
Yeah, I just want to clarify a little bit. I wasn't talking with Jamal Bowman and Hunter Biden. I wasn't talking about impeachment. I was just talking about them breaking the rules, creating the situation where they could get a felony charge, and they didn't get anything. Neither of them.
Right.
It's crap.
Yes, you're right to be outraged by that.
Yeah, it's crap. I'm mad.
We're outraged.
I'm angry.
So now, again, I want to go back to what Ken said earlier, that we got to play by those rules then, right? You brought that up.
Yeah.
And when you said it, I said, well, then we can't say that we're playing by the rules. But then Susie threw in that legal word that's so important, precedent, and precedent is precedent. We don't look like jerks. We don't look like we're trying to retaliate. It's just precedent.
Yeah.
Right?
Important.
Yeah, you're right. And so, and just to be fair-minded here, that can also be used against the Republicans. For instance, if you're talking about, in the last few months of a Republican president's tenure, if there were a Democrat Senate and a Supreme Court vacancy, that the Democrats could and definitely would do the same thing that Mitch McConnell did in 2016 with regard to replacing Antonin Scalia, which thank God he did, so that we don't have Merrick Garland sitting on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that would have been bad for sure. While we're on the Supreme Court, we haven't had a chance to talk to you about this. The Democrats, they okay, I'm going to use the word cheat. Okay, if it's not the right word, counselor, let me know. But they try to cheat in advance, right? Now they want Sonia Sotomayor to retire so they can get a young liberal Supreme Court justice in there. Do you see where I'm going with this? Maybe cheat isn't the right word, but what is the right word?
Play dirty.
Yeah, there you go.
Stinky.
Democrat-y.
Liberally.
All right. So today what's on tap today in the Trump trial?
Okay, so this is the last part of the jury selection. They already have seated 12 jurors and 1 alternate, and this morning they're questioning another batch to try and come up with 5 more alternates. They want 6 alternates, which is probably smart in a case like this. It's going to go on for a few weeks, and because of the publicity surrounding it, you want those other people available. So they're going through the same process to pick the alternates, and once they're seated, they'll all be sworn. The judge has told the ones that were already seated yesterday, come back Monday. So when they're done with jury selection, I'm sure the parties will stick around and talk with the judge about whatever other issues they have. But as far as the trial proceeding, it won't actually start until Monday.
So then the opening arguments will be on Monday?
The opening statements.
Excuse
you
me.
You make opening statements and closing arguments.
I'm such not a lawyer. All right?
Yeah, well,
God almighty.
That's part of the beauty of it.
So Susie, okay, scenario here. Okay, so Trump, everybody hates Trump. He's convicted. At the next step does he go directly to jail and then appeals, or can
Great
he
question.
appeal and then before he would go to jail? Because I guarantee you, if that man goes to jail, there's going to be a real problem in this country.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and the answer to that is we don't know yet. If he is convicted, the court there may be some discretion as to whether or not he can be out on bond pending appeal. Given the nature of the crime alleged, even if Judge Merchant is not a big Trump fan, which I don't think he is, I would be highly surprised if he actually had him said no, he needs to be in jail pending appeal. I just don't. I will be very surprised if this judge makes that decision, assuming that Trump is convicted.
Well, I've been very surprised about a lot of things this past few years.
And if he
we can revisit it. If I'm wrong, you can remind me.
No, I got it.
If he goes to jail, the Secret Service goes with him, right?
Yeah. They have
I
to.
don't know how that would work.
Right?
Well, they would have to. They would have to.
Right.
See,
he
For that
gets
and
lifetime.
very many other reasons is why I don't see this judge saying, I'm sending him to jail.
I almost think Trump would want to go to jail until the election.
To make a mockery of the whole
Hell
thing.
yes.
Yeah. All right. Susie, thank you so much. Say hi to everybody for us. We appreciate you and everybody at Red State, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Will do. You guys enjoy your Friday.
Yeah,
It's Friday.
It's Friday.
Thanks, Susie.
Ken's got that in the holster, ready to fire at will. All right, when we come back, so we lost another rocker. Ken, you and I are at the age now that the people we grew up listening to, I mean, I hate to say it, some of the big, this is a big name we're going to talk about next, but some of the huge big names one day are going to die.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that next on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL, number 1 for live and local conservative talk.
Follow us on Rumble at NewstalkSTL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Town of Rolling Stone will be back. And what did I say? I said Rolling Fork, Rolling Stone. I got my mind going here.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
what to say when I hear things like that. I just don't know what to say. Okay, so up there in Bowling Green and Moscow Mills, that storm ripped through those towns, other towns too, but those were the two that shot out at me when I was listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps yesterday. And you know that announcement, Ken, that computer voice announcement that tells you there's a tornado warning and those terrible, horrible noises that
really
they play?
Ominous, yeah.
They mentioned Moscow Mills, and I also heard Bowling Green was in the path. So be careful out there, you guys, okay? And if that storm did anything to your roof, I think there's only one company you can absolutely trust to get an honest estimation on what happened to the roof last night. So if you don't know, get Connor on it. Connor Roofing will go and give you an honest estimate. And if you do need a new roof or just even just repair, emergency repair is one of the things they really specialize in. They'll take care of it, okay? One thing I want you not to do, because this storm happened on a Thursday night. Now it's Friday. Saturdays are when the goobers love to come to the door or call. Kenny got a call from a couple of different goobers.
Yeah.
And he told them where to go. So please, for your own good, call Connor first, even before the insurance company, okay? 314-375-7475. Do yourself right. ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
NewstalkSTL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on NewstalkSTL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. Not that they'll agree they should be bound by it, but Senate Democrats set a new precedent on Wednesday that could very well come back to bite them the next time there's a Republican in the White House. Because they declined to proceed with the impeachment trial of DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, despite the fact that the articles of impeachment charged him, among other things, with knowingly making false statements to Congress, which is a felony, the Dems basically, as Senator Eric Schmidt put it, torched the Constitution and bulldozed 200 years of precedent. Following the debacle, the Dems scurried out of the upper chamber, but the Republicans stuck around to expound a bit upon what had just happened. And Senator John Kennedy, in the way that only he can, succinctly summed it up. What do you have to do to get impeached now? I mean, a felony is not sufficient. What's above a felony? And as it so often does, my mind immediately defaulted to music mode and heard More Than a Felony, with a nod to Boston, the band, not the town. So, to Senator Kennedy's point, I guess going forward, in order to be impeached, an official will need to commit more than a felony, perhaps an ultra felony. Either way, it looks like we'll see our Mayorkas walking away.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. The news and talk
President Biden may change his policy toward Israel.
that matters to St. Louis.
Obviously, Netanyahu is sending a very firm message over the call.
This is 1019 and 94.1.
I think it's purely politics.
News Talk STL. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. The Vic Porcelli Show.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
On News Talk STL.
All right, you're listening to Jessica by the Allman Brothers Band. As you know, at any time in history, anytime you hear that song with anything I'm involved with, it's always from my wife,
right,
Jessica. Written by Dickie Betts, who passed away yesterday, from the Allman Brothers Band. Now, when I first heard this, I said, is that all of them now? Is that all of the original members? And then I said, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, okay? I just, I love bands like the Allman Brothers Band. So the thing I said to myself was, I wonder if J-Mo, the other drummer, was still alive. Because Allman Brothers had two drummers.
Yeah.
How cool is that, right? You got Butch Trucks and you got J-Mo. J-Mo's real name, by the way, is Jai Johansson, but his nickname was J-Mo. He is still alive. So that's good news.
So, yeah.
But obviously, Duane Allman. So here's the thing about the Allman Brothers Band. Duane Allman was in a motorcycle crash near Macon, Georgia in 1971 or 2. And then almost a year later to the day, Barry Oakley, the bass player, gets into a motorcycle accident just blocks from where Duane Allman was killed in a motorcycle crash, It was starting to be this curse. So we know Duane Allman is dead. We know that Barry Oakley is dead. Greg Allman just recently passed away. Butch Trucks, the drummer, recently passed away. And that leaves J-Mo, the other drummer in the Allman Brothers Band, who are still with us. After Butch Trucks died, I'm sorry, this is about Dickie Betts, but I just want to say this very quickly. Butch Trucks, when he died, somebody put up a video of him playing with the Allman Brothers at the Capitol Theater in Passaic, New Jersey. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, my God, I was at this show.
Yeah.
Capitol was like 10 minutes from, not 10 minutes. It was like very close to my house. So anyway, I'm sorry. So Dickie Betts, here's the great thing about the Allman Brothers Band, right? You got Dickie Betts, who was a country boy. I mean, let's face it, he was just a country boy.
Yeah.
The Allman Brothers were more of the blues boys. They loved the, and if you want to listen to a great album, the Allman Brothers Band live at the Fillmore East, and the difference between the songs that were either written by or covered by the Allman Brothers, meaning Duane Allman and Greg Allman, bluesier, and Dickie's were just like kind of, Dickie Betts, Blue Sky was you're my blue sky, you're my sunny day. And he wrote, damn it. But it's anyway, the songs he wrote, you can just hear the difference in some of the songs. Ramblin' Man.
Oh, yeah.
Was a Dickie Betts song, right? And then, the bluesiness of the other guys, and it was a great mix. And he knew how to play that blues. I'm not saying he didn't know how to play the blues. He did.
Oh, yeah.
And, I don't know. Ken, it just comes down to what we were talking about, that the guys that we grew up listening to are getting old.
It's really interesting because I used to have on my show, on the River Homegrown Show on Sunday nights, but it was actually after your Vic's Variety Show and Blues Review.
Mm-hmm.
I would have Devin Allman on a lot.
What a great kid he is.
And he would sit in and actually be a guest host with me, and we'd go over his music. And, you could tell, man, wow, the influence that he has. And he is a great artist in his own right.
There's no doubt, but he's also, I love the humility. He is humble.
Yeah.
He's not a, show-off of any kind, So
he loves music, man.
He had I could kill him for this, I swear to God. He had a Facebook name that was Devin Allman backwards.
Ah.
Navid
whatever.
Milla or whatever like that, you know. And he was asking me questions, and I thought, here's a listener, you know, talk about, I like that band. And then finally he goes, Vic, it's Devin. And he goes, look at the name. It's my name backwards. I was like, you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Don't you cuss on this here radio.
I did cuss on that here internet chat with him. But he's a great guy, and he's a great guitarist, as Ken mentioned. I mean, he's Greg Allman's son.
Yeah.
Okay? You can pretty much be a pompous ass when you're Greg Allman's son, but he wasn't.
No,
he isn't.
No, as an artist, you could tell it was his son, his dad's son, and at the same time, you could tell a little bit of a renegade too. He's his dad's son.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. No.
Nothing wrong with that. So Dickie Betts died. He was 80 years old. That is almost all of the original line. So the original lineup, I don't know if I mentioned this. The original lineup: Dwayne Allman, Greg Allman, Dickie Betts, Barry Oakley, Butch Trucks, and J-Mo. And J-Mo is still with us, thank goodness. And that's the last remaining scrap we have of the original Allman Brothers Band. So we're going to miss Dickie Betts. And, of course, he wrote Jessica, which is always from my wife. Always.
Right, exactly.
Anytime you hear it, it's always from my wife. All right, Kenny, let's do this. Let's squeeze in a little piece of audio I'd like to play.
Okay.
I'd like you to play for me. And then we'll do the chat box real quick.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the Wheel of Audio, okay? But this is Stephen A. Smith from ESPN, who says that they're doing this trial against Trump because they know they can't beat him at the box office.
When I think about Donald Trump, I think about this case in New York. I mean, I'm looking at the Democrats right now. And again, primarily, I have voted Democrat throughout my life, but I'm utterly disgusted with what I'm seeing because it seems to me that they're trying to use the law in the courts. They've clearly politicized this thing with Donald Trump because they can't come up with a strategy to offset the momentum he's clearly gained. In at least 5 polls, he's up. He's up in the polls over Biden, at least 5 polls that I counted. That's the reality of the situation. Despite the counts against them, the indictments against them, being impeached twice and all of this other stuff, he is the presumptive GOP nominee. And you don't seem to have the issues in your favor, you believe. So because of that, you're going to manipulate the system as best as you possibly can to avoid him possibly running for re-election again. That appears to be their strategy, but I'm here to tell you, it's not working.
That's Stephen A. Smith, who has been saying things like this now for a while because...
And he's no Trump supporter.
He's not. And he's just seeing things for what they are. And I got to give him credit for that, you know, but like you said, he is no Trump supporter. I don't even think he's a conservative in any way, but I like when people like that can at least say something against the liberal faction of this country, and hopefully people listen is all I can say.
Well, I was just getting ready to ask you, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's starting to break through? Do you think the truth is starting to come out to the people who don't pay attention?
That's a great question, Ken. It's an interesting question because the people who don't pay attention will never pay attention. Because I was thinking about this jury thing, and I was like, who hasn't heard of who doesn't have an opinion of Donald Trump in this country, right?
Oh, yeah, that part, yeah.
300 million
I
people.
agree with that.
And then I'm trying to think of people that I know, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what?
I know. I'm saying, you know, as we get closer to November, you know, you get into August, September, October, people are going to turn around and go, oh, wait a minute, there's this big election. And now I'm hearing about it, and it's a really important election. That's what I'm thinking is, are people starting to pay attention now?
Yeah, I hope so. And I hope they're hearing the stuff from the right place. Then very quick last thing on Stephen Smith, then we're just going to have to go to break. And I'm sorry I screwed this up as well.
That's all right.
But with Stephen Smith, so Sean Hannity, you know, is a big phony baloney.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's a conservative. We're on the same page ideologically, absolutely.
Right.
But he's a great big phony baloney who can't figure out after 30 years in television how a delay works, right? He asks a question, person start answering, then he jumps in and says something else, which makes the person stop, and then the delay comes back, and then nobody talks. It's the worst. Anyway, he is aligning himself. This is going to sound completely terrible, but this is what I believe because I think he is a phony baloney. Aligning himself with black personalities to put on the show to say, look, I'm on your side. You know what I mean? Him and Mike Tyson hang out, really?
Yeah.
Him and Stephen Smith hang out, really?
Yeah. No, I believe that. That's why I stopped listening to him 6 years ago. Or longer, because he just says the same thing over and over again. And I think he really is in the tank with the Bush family and the whole what do they call it? The Uniparty. The Uniparty.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's in there somewhere with them.
To me,
but that's my opinion.
On TV, he's just a conduit to get from Jesse Waters to Greg Gutfeld.
Oh, yeah.
Jesse's on from 7 to 8. He's on from 8 to 9, then Greg comes on at 9. Jessica. It's like today, this is always like, oh, Jessica, my wife. Today it's, oh, Dickie Betts. Oh, Jessica, my wife.
Yeah.
All right. Wheel of audio clips coming up next. Can you give us a little extra time when I'm done talking here? Just a couple of seconds extra time?
Yeah.
All right. On 101.9, 94.1, News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Just what I thought of.
Stream the Vic Porcelli Show at NewstalkSTL. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Let's talk about the fact that President Trump incited an erection.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
And inciting the erection hits the post. Boing, yoing, yoing, yoing. Okay, so when we talk about long-term care, it's something that, people, they don't expect to be put in long-term care, right? Everybody wants to avoid that. Who wants long-term care? I don't want long-term care. But when you have to do it, you have to do it. And then if it's yourself or a loved one, it's expensive. And if it's someone else, you go through double, right? The expense and also the emotion and the grief of that you have a person in long-term care. So what do we do? How can the savings handle this added expense? It's tax-efficient solutions. That's what it is. And the guy who can help you with that is Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. He'll show you those tax-efficient strategies to fund care needs and to keep money in your pocket and to have that retirement that you've been saving for all your life, okay? So if you're planning in advance, or if you have health concerns, or if you're living in a care community right now, solutions do exist to fund the quality of care that you deserve. Get the book that Chris wrote for free for you. It wasn't for free for him, it's for free for you. CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies to Long-Term Care. You can get it free at SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com. Serenity now! With Chris Cooper.
Investment advisory services offered through Alphi LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Serenity now! Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
420 will speak with Susan Pendergrass from the Show Me Institute on SB 727, and at 520, Patrick Chewy talks about the Cardinals maybe asking for Busch Stadium upgrades.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hi, Sean Long from STL Fenceworks. A new fence or deck is an investment in your home and your lifestyle. But how do you ensure that you're getting the most out of that investment? At STL Fenceworks, we know the key is satisfaction. Satisfaction means getting a fence or deck that not only meets your needs, but exceeds your expectations. Satisfaction means working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. Satisfaction means having confidence in the quality of your new fence or deck, knowing that it was built with the best of materials and workmanship. STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion. And for me, satisfaction is knowing that providing for your family is how I provide for mine. Visit STLFenceworks.com and experience the satisfaction in making your backyard dreams into a reality.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Fox News commentary.
LA Mayor Karen Bass begs the wealthy to buy housing for the homeless. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Donald Trump Jr. here. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but you can stop your losses by diversifying into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold now.
Message and data rates may apply.
California is home to at least 30% of the nation's homeless population, and try as they might, Democrat leaders just can't seem to find a solution. Enter LA Mayor Karen Bass with a new suggestion for wealthy residents to chip in a little more. Yeah, she is urging wealthy Angelenos to help fund and speed up housing purchases for the homeless. She insists that if the city can just buy up more properties for housing the homeless, this systemic crisis will be eased. There's so much I want to say about this, but I'll start here. 1, California already taxes the wealthy into oblivion, and it's still not enough. 2, let's talk about the audit that showed California can't account for the $24 billion already spent on homelessness. And 3, how much have taxpayers hemorrhaged taking care of illegal aliens in California? The homeless crisis will never be solved in California so long as Democrats are in charge. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
The Wheel of Audio Clips, brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection. Talk lines are open now at 314-912-1019. You're listening to the Vic Porcelli Show.
Everything Joe Biden touches turns to shit.
Now look
Everything.
here, I don't like that kind of talk. Now just stop it upsets me.
How dare you!
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
I know I'm not the only one that heard Donald Trump say everything, and you think he was going to say woke because we play it all the time. But Kenny slipped in a little curveball on you there, and that's okay by me. All right, Kenny.
Weird. Really weird.
No, you're weird.
No, you're weird.
I'm not weird. You're weird.
That's how we started our day together today.
Because it was weird.
It was really weird.
I don't know what it was.
It was just weird.
I don't remember what it was, but
I don't
it was
either.
weird. You think you were being weird.
I think you were.
No, I'm not weird. You're
just
weird.
my opinion.
All right, let's go.
Oh, you want me to go?
Did I say let's go?
Oh, did you? Okay.
Oh, my God. You can be replaced.
Wheel of Audio Clips!
It's America's favorite game show, The Wheel of Audio Clips. Here's the host of Wheel of Audio Clips, Vic Porcelli.
Thank you, Jim Hodgman, very much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, studio audience, ladies. How you doing? Look at our studio audience, Ken. They're a good-looking bunch, are they not? I mean, conservative women are way better looking than liberal women, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a fact. All right, so what we do here is we take all the audio that we play for you all week. Ken puts it on this great big shiny wheel, and we spin the wheel, and wherever it lands, that's what we play. And I always hope for Trump, root against Biden, and it doesn't always work out that way, but we'll see what we can do today.
It hardly ever works out that way.
Right?
Right.
Does it?
No, not much.
Anyway,
We try, though.
Yeah, we try to cheat, but we don't. No, we don't try to cheat. Spin the wheel before I get any more trouble. Oh, my God, I got to shut up. Holy cow. All right, well, there goes the Trump. You know what? There's a lot of Trump on the wheel because he's been talking a lot this week. As a matter of fact, I don't see how it can miss Trump, but yet it does. So very quickly, Uri Berliner, 25-year veteran of NPR, finally spoke up. What took him so long, first of all?
Yeah.
This all of a sudden change of heart,
Had
right?
an epiphany.
Yeah. Which I'm glad he did. Don't get me wrong. But he still hates Trump, and there's no reason for anybody to hate Trump. So why is NPR like that? Well, let's listen to NPR's new CEO, Catherine Mayer.
The number one challenge here that we see and is, of course, the First Amendment in the United States is a fairly robust protection of rights. And that is a protection of rights both for platforms, which I actually think is very important, that platforms have those rights to be able to regulate what kind of content they want on their sites. But it also means that it is a little bit tricky to really address some of the real challenges of where does bad information come from and sort of the influence peddlers who have made a real market economy around it.
Can I say real quick, I don't like people who end every sentence up.
Ken, you're absolutely
and
right.
She does it every single time?
She does. You're absolutely right. The inflection goes up after every thought. And I cannot agree more with you. But I just realized listening to that she might be AI. She might not even be a real person. She like,
there was a little glitch in the AI matrix, I think.
Right. Spin the wheel. God. The things we say on the show.
I know.
Don't even make sense.
Oh, it makes sense. Oh, it does.
Hey, RFK is on the ballot in Michigan. That's good news for Trump. We'll talk more about that on Monday. All right, here we go. Here goes Trump.
Hey,
Come on,
Trump. Oh, no.
Ken, one space away. Why do you put Trump and Biden next to each other?
I didn't do it.
You do it. All right, here's Joe Biden getting stuck again.
And I made it clear to Israelis, don't move on Haifa. It's just not, anyway, I just...
The leaders are looking at each other like, what?
Look what we did recently when Israel was attacked.
Look what we
did. Hold on here, okay? I absolutely agree with Joe Biden. I do not want Israel to attack one of its own cities.
No, and especially its third largest.
That would be a bad military strategy
to
attack one of your own cities.
Yes.
He meant Rafah, I believe.
And I don't care. I don't care what he meant.
Same old stuff.
He's the leader of the free world, and he said Haifa.
I don't get it. All right, let's do another one.
Okay.
I'm just trying to not run out of time here, Kenny. Show's only 2 hours. Hello.
Only 2 hours.
That was only 2 hours.
That's it.
Just pointing things out. That's all I'm doing.
2 hours.
Hey, good, great. Not Trump, but that's okay. Senator Josh Hawley. You know who I hate? Jennifer Granholm, the energy secretary.
Yeah.
I hate policies, of course, but her holier-than-thou, condescending, snarky attitude. I hate it. Here's Josh Hawley ripping her apart.
Secretary, all I have to say is this record is just deplorable. It is despicable. It is outrageous that hundreds of officers in the Energy Department are trading shares. It is outrageous that you misled us. It is outrageous that you are continuing to mislead us. And it is outrageous you're going to conferences and events funded by foreign billionaires using dark money to try to influence our politics. This has got to change. And frankly, you should go.
Wow. Josh Hawley, if you could apply for the job to just question witnesses and that's all you did, he'd be first in line, man.
Yeah.
The way he tears them apart. And Jennifer Granholm, just because the media thinks that your president is good and he's got a great cabinet and that you're the Secretary of Energy, that doesn't mean you know what you're doing, and that gives you no reason to be snarky and not realize that people can't afford your EVs, period. And that's not even what this was about. This was about trading stocks.
And that's really, to me, is the most important thing, what he brought up, because, Vic, she's the energy top dog in this country, and she has the ability to barter and do whatever she has to do to get these stocks. She owned a company. It went under, but she had recently, prior to it going under, she traded away the stocks and made a lot of money.
You know what I certainly agree with? Okay, she's a dog. Okay, spin the wheel. You said top dog.
Top dog.
Okay, she's a dog.
Dog.
All right, I'm going to make you spin that wheel until it lands on Trump. If we got to be here, it's the Bongino show. You hear me? All right.
And Dan would not appreciate that, but okay.
See, he might. He just, I get my wish. You know what? If I cry and bitch enough. Right, but it is about Trump at least.
Yeah.
And it's people cheering for Trump at a bodega, the bodega, where the owner was sent to jail for defending himself against a thug.
In West Harlem.
In West Harlem, and the Hispanics are going crazy for him.
What do you think about the hearing so far, Mr. President? We love Trump! 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 We love Trump!
You think they love Trump? That was in East Harlem. Why didn't they go up there and pick jurors, by the way?
Right.
What the hell? So, I think he should do more of that, especially at these infamous places like the bodega that was in question months ago. But don't you worry, trial or no trial, he's there, he's coming. Hold on, because he's coming.
Hold on! I'm coming! Hold on!
Remember, they're coming after me because I'm standing up for you.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. That's all the time we have for the Wheel of Audio, our Friday fun, how we end up the show every week with the Wheel of Audio. There we go, Wheel of Audio. This is Vic Porcelli saying, please help control the liberal population. Get your liberal spayed or neutered. Goodbye, everybody. I love that little change in the music there. All right, Ken, we have to hit the chat box. I know we're late. I know you're mad, but...
I'm not mad. Why am I mad?
Oh, that's right. You're not mad. You're weird.
You're weird.
No, you're weird.
No, really.
Tom says, good Friday morning. Amy, it's Friday. Good morning, Vic Heads. Happy Friday, gents and fellow Vic Heads. Have a great weekend, everyone. Come on out and join us tomorrow at the Rock Community Fire District 5 on Telegraph in Arnold from 10 to 2. Open house, safety demos, snacks, demonstrations. It'll be a great time. And Scotty Downey will be there working the event.
And say the location again.
I'm sorry. It is on Telegraph in Arnold is all I have. It's
okay.
The Rock Community Fire District 5.
All right, awesome.
10 to 2. And you can meet a real hero, Scotty Downey. Our favorite Navy chief. He's our favorite Navy chief.
Yeah.
Right? Steve Gross disagrees with David Stokes. 2 hours ago, it's legal theft. It's my money. I completely agree. I'm not saying I disagree with David, but it is our money. Stay
it's
away
our
from
money,
our money.
Yeah.
It's Friday. Can completely understand, brother. I have a honey-do list a mile long. Eventually, I'll have to get to it.
Oh, is that Scotty?
Whoosh. He also says
whoosh, my brother.
At the end.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's funny. Scotty's wife and Ken's wife give them honey-do lists, and my wife is like, I'll do it. Just sit down, I'll do it. You can't put a sandwich together. Hey, I'm getting close to the sandwich. Bread, meat, bread, right?
Yeah.
Is that how it goes?
No, yeah.
I'm working on it. Happy Friday. Are you Lady... Happy Friday. Are you Lady Jensen Dental Cats? I think she talked to text. It says, are you Lady Jensen Dental Cats?
That's pretty good.
Meant to say Ladies Jensen Gentle Cats
right.
is what Joyce says. That's so funny. I also wanted to mention that when I arrived to work yesterday, all the leaders on my line were all wearing Battlehawk shirts.
All right.
Go Battlehawks. Barry's in. Barry Big says Donald Trump transcends party politics. He's common sense which trumps, in quotes, any party ideals.
Yep.
You can't just put him in a box. Completely agree, Barry Biggs. And then he says, have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy your aglio olio, which I got the feeling he's going to make this weekend.
Ooh, that'll be good.
Because he asked me about it in the chat box. He picked out that when my wife made it for my birthday, she used the bucatini noodles, which are the real thick noodles. He caught it in a photo of the picture.
Right.
I used bucatini noodles? Yes, I did. All right. That's all the time we have for that.
Well, it was a good Friday. It was a good week.
Wait, it's Good Friday?
No, it's not. It was a good Friday, and it was a good week.
Fun Friday. It was a
good week.
Fun
Friday.
You know what? It was an informative week. It was an infuriating week in some ways. It was a satisfying week in some ways. But we just have to... Yes. Donald Trump incited an erection, right?
You're right. He
Sure
incited an erection.
did.
What's
Yes,
going to happen
he
there?
did. All right, listen, have a great weekend. Thank you so much for having the record player on at night to listen to us this morning.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Bongino's next. Have a great weekend. Kenny and I will see you at 9 Monday on News Talk STL.
Whoosh.
So tough, I think I've had enough until the weekend. Here come the weekend. Here come the weekend. Here come the weekend.
Are you fed up with paying too much for lightning-fast doctor visits with too little information? Well, I was too, and decided to create an alternative. Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler here, asking you to take a look at no copay, no deductible visits with me and my team. That's Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Let's face it, the system's broken. No respect for your money or your time. So learn about a better way for your primary care. Schedule your discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com, shepherding you to medical freedom.
Hey, barbecue lover, Tony Colombo here for my friend Jonathan Heslop and his company, Rockwood Lump Charcoal. If you're like me and log a lot of hours behind the barbecue pit, make sure you have a bag of Rockwood by your side next time you grill. You don't have to use nearly as much Rockwood charcoal as traditional briquettes, so your bag lasts longer, plus it burns cleaner, faster, and more evenly, providing a superior grilling experience. Use it once and you'll never want to use anything else. Rockwood Lump Charcoal is available at over 100 area locations. Find the closest one to you at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Kickstart your spring with Spring into Green savings on a John Deere compact tractor at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. For a limited time, we have 0% financing for 84 months with zero down on select models. Plus, when you purchase an in-stock model year 23 compact tractor, you'll save up to an additional $2,500. Take home the tractor of your dreams today. Visit snpartners.com for more information.
Offer valid through 4/26/2024. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. So many of us are suffering from allergies right now. It's time to get your home clean and healthy, and Zero Res is here to help. Book a cleaning in April and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, plus you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Get the jump on spring cleaning now. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewstalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The House has pushed a $95 billion national security aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and other U.S. allies closer to passage. A key procedural vote gained approval to move ahead with that bill. Final votes on the package, they are expected on Saturday. Also at townhall.com, an apparent Israeli drone attack on a major air base near the central city of Isfahan activated Iranian air defenses. The strike coming just days after Tehran's unprecedented drone and missile attack on Israel. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says he doesn't have much to add about the reported attack in Iran.
I'm going to be incredibly boring and not make your day by saying, again, I'm not going to speak to what's been reported other than to say that the United States has not been involved in any offensive operations. The United States, along with our partners, will continue to work for de-escalation.
Military affairs analyst, retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, tells the Salem Radio Network Israel managed to avoid carrying out an all-out offensive.
Had Israel responded as many people wanted, and that is to return 350 drones and missiles in exchange for what they did, the Iranians did on the 13th of April, that would have provoked, what we and the Israelis didn't want, another front on that war.
Analysts said the relatively limited scope of the Israeli attack and the subdued response by Iran seemed to indicate the threat of an immediate escalation had diminished. A losing week on Wall Street is finally coming to a close. The Dow is ahead 177 points, but the Nasdaq losing 184. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Are you over 30 and putting off life insurance? It's time to get a quick quote from Ethos. A better, easier way to get term life insurance. All online with no medical exam. Answer a few health questions and you could be approved for up to $2 million. Isn't it worth 10 minutes to help protect your family's financial security? Ethos. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-3490. That's 800-275-3490.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Yesterday's damaging thunderstorms are long gone, and now cooler air is in control as winds are locked in out of the north. A decent amount of sunshine today, though, should be enough to push highs into the low 60s. I think it'll feel nice. Back into the 50s for your evening plans and staying dry, down to 43 for the low early Saturday morning. And this cooler air mass sticks around through the weekend. I've got 61 for the high Saturday, up to 63 on Sunday. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Hey, it's Columbo for Capriotti's Sandwich Shop. Capriotti's is famous for setting themselves apart due to their dedication to superior quality and ingredients like slow-roasted, hand-pulled whole turkey and American Wagyu straight from Snake River Farms. That dedication to superior quality is evident from the very first bite into a Capriotti sandwich. Visit Capriotti's Sandwich Shop 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill and get more info, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriottis.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
Hey, this is Bridget, CEO of the Thrive Nation. We celebrate your faith, values, and friendship. We made the most supportive state in the country for any woman facing an unplanned pregnancy. You are here for them, and it's wonderful. Let's make another miracle together that funds those families. It's Give St. Louis Day and the Thrive Championship for the 8th year in a row. It's the only time that life has the loudest voice in our city. Give St. Louis Day early giving, and your small or giant gift will be doubled today. ThriveAliveSTL.org.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with this free call. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. 800-524-1641. That's 800-524-1641.
This is what's happening.
I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while.
President Biden is not interested in bringing people together, and he's also not interested in creating real solutions.
He came to give a campaign speech, and it was that.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
Content today on the radio show, and I promise you're going to love it. We're going to do something I think in the conservative content space we don't do enough, which is create the contrast and put actual meat on the bone. In other words, I did this segment at the end of the podcast, which we're going to do today, about here is actually what's going to happen if we lose the election, according to their own words. You want to pay more in taxes or less? Like, here's their actual words. People saw it, and I was getting all these comments like, man, I've never quite heard it phrased that way. You will. We've got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, a lot going on in the Middle East. But before we get to that, folks, there is a huge, critically important update on the Uncle Brosy imbroglio. Thankfully, apparently now, according to the New York Post, they are admitting now Uncle Brosy, Biden's grandfather, the famous Uncle Brosy, was in fact not consumed by a bunch of New Guinea cannibals, which is probably not the headline they wanted out of their Pennsylvania trip. So Jim, of course, was a little bored on a Friday morning and was scouring the dark web, and he always finds these strange odd series. This one I thought was quite bizarre. I don't know what website he was on for this. I don't know what Jim was doing. I'm quite concerned, actually, these places he's going and surfing and all that stuff. So Jim found this fascinating series trailer, and I think you're going to like this. So who knew there was a story about this, and it actually made it onto a video platform. Check this out.
From the creators of Saving Private Ryan, a tale of desperation and bravery. Saving Uncle Brosy.
Man means nothing to me. It's just a name.
In danger of being eaten by cannibals.
We're gonna catch him! We're gonna cook him! And we're gonna eat him!
They must find Brosy before it's too late.
What are we eating? Leftovers, honey. Leftovers from what?
Or the grandchild of a hero will lose his mind.
And the kids used to come up and reach into the pool and rub my leg down.
Saving Uncle Brosy. Rated BS for, well, you know.
Folks, I didn't do it. That's a thing. I don't know. It's a series. I was totally unaware. So they may want to correct that now that the military has in fact debunked this story. So moving on. Can get rid of the Scranton Nuggets menu item now. Yeah. Hey, we got a big guest today, Jim, don't we? Is that happening? Is that confirmed? Really? Folks, 2:05 today, Eastern time. So if you're listening on delay, about 2 hours from now, Speaker Johnson's going to come on the show. So we have some questions. They wanted to come on, so good for them. We've got some questions. Of course, every interview we do here is going to be fair, give them the opportunity to speak, so don't miss out. Probably break some news on that one. So check that out. Getting back to some serious stuff, though. So last night there was an Israeli counterstrike to the counterstrike from Iran on the Israeli strike in Damascus. So we've had the initial strike in Damascus, so we're keeping track of everything, where we took out, the Israelis took out, what was it? The Israelis took out 7 IRGC savages. The Iranians then counterstruck with hundreds of ballistic missiles and drones into Israeli territory. For the first time in the 45-year theocracy of the Iranians, you had a state-to-state action. So that, of course, is obviously a very big deal. But I had asked the question on the headline of my show today. I like to title the podcasts and the radio shows. Folks, is this war, or is this some kind of staged thing going on here? And I only say that because I'm not the one asking. Other people are. Other people are starting to ask, hey, what's really going on here? Let me dial it back and reframe what I'm talking about. Folks, we're the big actor in this, okay? We could crush the Iranians tomorrow if we wanted to. Their military is there for one reason and one reason only: regime preservation. That's why I really strongly object to engagement farming and clickbait. When people are out there, you've seen it, Jim. They're like, World War III is going to break out tomorrow. Listen, folks, World War III is always a possibility because we have thermonuclear armed enemies that if someone went crazy could legitimately start a world war. But, planes going down every day are possible too, but thankfully they're black swan events. The World War III stuff I object to because it's done so clearly to engagement farm, make money, and grab your attention. But no one ever makes the case as to how this is going to lead to World War III. The Iranians, what are they going to do? Their military is at best a regional actor, and they're dedicated almost exclusively to preserving the mullahs and their theocracy. What are the Iranians going to do to us to start World War III? What are they going to send a bunch of rafts over here with a bunch of people with pistols or AK-47s? So I think we need to be realistic before we start pounding the war drums on this stuff, because there are real lives involved and real consequences to telling people X is going to happen when X is highly unlikely. But I asked the question earlier on the show, on the pod. I said, is this thing being staged? I don't mean staged that it's fake. The violence is obviously very real. But folks, I think we're being played. And it would be a real shame if I didn't tell you about it, to use my microphone to put this out there. Holman Jenkins has a pretty amazing piece in the Wall Street Journal. It's called The Biden 2024 Election Strategy. Now, go back to what I just said. We are the big dog in the room, the United States. We provide substantial military and economic assistance to Israel. We have sadly released a lot of economic assistance to the Iranians, which we shouldn't have. And we could crush the Iranians tomorrow. That's just a fact. Biden, who is sadly our president right now, Joe Biden wants one thing and one thing only. Peace in the Middle East? No, he doesn't care about any of that. Biden doesn't care about any of that. Biden cares about one thing. Biden wants to get reelected. He wants to go out there and sniff more kids. He wants to grope more women. He wants to say more ridiculous stories. He wants to show up in the local Wawa and pretend he drinks, he's ordering a milkshake like any average Joe. Joe Biden doesn't have any other options. He has no life skills other than fleecing money from people, sniffing. He's very good at sniffing. He doesn't have any other life skills. He wants a second term more than anything. So there are two things in his way right now. Number one would be a regional war in the Middle East that breaks out. He does not want that. He doesn't want a regional war because Joe Biden doesn't want to look like the chaos president because he ran on the exact opposite. Remember? What was his platform, folks? The Trump years were crazy and chaotic. Hey, look at me. I'm going to come in as a senior statesman and I'm going to clean things up and we're going to get some sense of stability. That was what he ran on, correct? Now, what are the most destructive political narratives in the world? They're political stories that change your pre-existing notion of who a candidate is. So if Joe Biden ran on being the stability guy and Joe Biden's regime is marked by the fall of Afghanistan to the Taliban, a Russian invasion of Ukraine, and a regional war in the Middle East, Joe Biden is, it ends with an ED and starts with an F. He doesn't want that. So don't you find it odd that all of this stuff seems to be happening with advanced warning? Because this isn't the way war is typically conducted. You've got the Iranians who launched this unprecedented strike on Israel with these ballistic missiles and drones, and they're telling the Turks first. The Turks are NATO partners. They obviously told us. But who does that? Who in a war goes, hey, opponent guy, whoever you are there, barbarians or whatever, we're going to attack on the left flank, then we're going to distract you, and then we're going to break your flank down the center with cavalry. Like, who does that? Why would the Iranians do that? Now, the word came out last night that Israel let us know also about the counterstrike in Iran to the strike. Folks, it seems like there's this balancing act going on. And I'm getting concerned because I think they should be honest with us about it. We need to kind of pick a side here. Are we against the theocracy or are we preserving this regime? Are we with the Israelis or are we going to just abandon them? What are we going to do about Ukraine? What are we going to do about Russia? I mean, it doesn't have to all be done out there in the open. Diplomacy, like what they say, making love, making diplomacy best behind closed doors, right? But I genuinely don't think this Biden team cares about any of this stuff or has a position. Their only position is what is best to get Joe Biden elected. So number one, they want to avoid a regional war. So it's best to avoid anything unexpected. So if we're going to kill each other in the Middle East, Joe Biden's like, at least tell me about it first so I can minimize the casualties and it doesn't break us. So why are we doing it at all then? Why not just tell them, hey, don't do that? Oh, he already did. He said, don't. But Jenkins brings up another interesting component of this. Jenkins says, this is kind of strange. Biden's obviously trying to minimize the electoral damage in Michigan, where there's a substantial pro-Hamas population that is supporting Hamas and the so-called plight of the Palestinian people. I say so-called because they can't even tell you what it is. Most of them have no idea. So Jenkins brings up an interesting point. He says, for Mr. Biden, this episode, Israel versus Iran, he's talking about, rather conveniently reframes the conflict as one of Israel versus Iran, about which the low-voting college cohort are nonplussed at best, instead of Israel versus an absurdly romanticized notion of the Palestinian people. He says it's very unusual that an enemy, Iran, is working so hard to make sure its own attack was 100% defeated. Folks, I just don't like being played. And my problem with this entire scenario isn't just so I'm giving you my position clearly and unequivocally, is not that the diplomacy may be happening behind closed doors. It's that I don't think it's happening at all. Is that I think Biden is only making decisions right now, only making decisions to ensure that he wins the next election. And if that results in an explosion of regional war, nuclear war, World War III, whatever it may be, I don't think this guy cares one bit. Nothing he's doing is making tactical sense right now. He could have stopped this immediately, pressuring the Iranians. He doesn't want to. He wants this reframe where they're going at each other in these kind of pre-staged volleys because it reframes the fight to Israel versus Iran away from Israel, Hamas, Gaza, the Palestinian people, because he thinks it will distract in Michigan and elsewhere where there are large swaths of the population that are going against Biden because he won't call for a ridiculous ceasefire. Think of all the decisions this guy's made that are putting our national security, your national security, you personally at risk every day. The draining of our emergency oil reserves, the prolonging of this is totally unnecessary. He needs to just get out of the way and let them do their business over there. This Ukraine fight where one minute he's for it, the next minute he's against it. Give him fighter jets. Don't give him fighter jets. We'd give him fighter jets, but we don't want to train them. Give them to him and we'll train them. Do you have a coherent position? I mean, listen, love him or hate him, Reagan's position was pretty coherent. You remember what it was, Jim? We win, they lose. That was it. That was the Reagan doctrine. What is Biden do? Don't do what? Don't do what? Don't eat Uncle Brozy? Like, don't do what? What don't are you talking about? I said my piece on it. This guy's only wartime commander-in-chief strategy is getting elected. That is it. Your national security, he doesn't give a damn about it. All right, coming up next, I got a very important segment. They are in real trouble with a very specific voting demographic, and I want you to keep this expression in your mind here, the +2. Keep that in your head. I'll explain what I mean after the break. We'll be right back. Bongino. Hey, have you gotten your letter from the IRS yet telling you owe money? Folks, these last few years have not been easy on our economy or the average American citizen. Did you see that story that came out too? The IRS is using all that funding to predictably do what? Audit the middle class. That's a lot of us. Okay, that could be you next. America First Tax Group can help put an end to your worries. Go to americafirsttaxgroup.com/Bongino and get help today. America First Tax Group is a full-service tax company that'll fight the IRS and help put you on a path to financial freedom. Their experts can help you or your business with any tax-related problems, from dealing with back taxes to getting you tax relief you didn't even know was possible. Don't wait. Get in touch with America First Tax Group today by visiting americafirsttaxgroup.com/Bongino, or if you want to call and speak to a tax rep, call 800-507-0466 and 800-507-0466 and tell them Dan Bongino sent you.
Dan Bongino.
Hey, it's First Alert Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton from Channel 4, and we are proud to be the official weather source for NewstalkSTL. Just like you've grown to expect from us at Channel 4, you can expect the same accurate, detailed, and timely weather coverage from NewstalkSTL. The First Alert weather team will keep you ahead of the big weather changes. And the one thing you can count on in St. Louis, the weather is constantly changing. So Channel 4 and NewstalkSTL are committed to keeping you up to date and safe.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here. I'm here with Stewie. Stewie, tell us all about the bagel loan and how people can use it to compete with the competition.
You know what, Tim? Inventory is low. You're going to have to be aggressive out there. We're going to give you the bagel loan. Bagel loan means no closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees. It's the big bagel. Take that money you would save, add it to your bid. You'll beat the competition hands down. Do it now and do it in 12 days.
Close in less than 12 days. Call Stewie 314-324-4440, or better yet, just Google the bagel loan.
MLS number 226715.
On Friday, April 19th, groove on down to Busch Stadium for Grateful Dead Night. With the purchase of a special themed ticket, fans will receive a long-sleeve Grateful Dead lightweight hoodie. Come early for a special pregame performance by St. Louis's favorite Dead tribute band, Jake's Leg, on the Budweiser stage. A portion of each ticket purchased will be donated to the Rex Foundation. For tickets or more information, visit cardinals.com/theme.
This is Jojo Romero, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Sunday, April 21st is Donate Life Day at the Ballpark, presented by Mid-America Transplant. That day, the Cardinals host the Brewers, and fans who purchase a special theme ticket will receive an exclusive Cardinals cap supporting organ and tissue donation. A portion of each ticket sold will be donated back to support the Mid-America Transplant Foundation. That's Sunday, April 21st, Donate Life Day at the Ballpark. For tickets or more information, visit cardinals.com/theme.
This is David Eckstein, St. Louis Cardinals for the Lou.
Larry Connors, USA.
Hunter Biden and his artwork.
Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words. What a coward.
The art gallerist apparently claimed that one of Hunter's financial backers purchased most of his paintings for $875,000. What's this? Oh, it's a scribble, but really it's a man walking into his future and seeing his past at the same time.
You are the epitome of white privilege.
They were laundering money, and he had all of his friends coming forward to help him out.
Larry Connors, weeknights at 6 on News Talk STL. This week on News Talk STL.
I stand here.
It starts at the top. It starts with Biden.
I call on Congress to authorize this effort as soon as possible.
Israeli and American forces in the Middle East are on heightened alert after Iran vowed revenge for that Israeli airstrike.
Democrats have created a political battlefield here.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Law enforcement officers dying on his watch for being gunned down by people who have been arrested 20 times.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion. News Talk STL.
But finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For over a decade, they've successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out. With an A+ rating at the BBB and thousands of 5-star reviews, customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, call 844-284-4864. That's 844-284-4864 or LoneStarTransfer.com.
My heart is crying, crying. Lonely teardrops.
A little bit of Jackie Wilson Fridays. They're back. I needed to take a week off because it reminds me of my mom used to clean the house to the Jackie Wilson records. This is it. Remember this? Look at this. I love it.
Just say you will, say you will.
This is tunes. That's some real music right there. Always gets me in a good mood. And I'm in a better mood today. A fantastic mood, as a matter of fact. One, because it's Friday. But secondly, because I grew up in New York. And there's a station in New York called New York One. New York One is one of these 24-hour news stations, and it runs on roughly like a 15-minute loop or so. I shouldn't say loop, but they cover generally the same stories, and it's a way to tune in and get the news in digestible bites. Been around forever. There's a guy on that channel who knows, he's probably forgotten more about New York than most people know. He's been there forever. I don't even know if he's still there. He's showing, I guess, on WABC now, the radio station. His name's Dominic Carter. Again, he happens to be black, which is completely uninteresting to conservatives, but fascinating to the left that makes every single judgment about a person based on the tone and melanin content of their skin, which we conservatives find quite bizarre, but they love it. He made an observation that I'm going to play for you after the break, and I teased this yesterday on the radio show.